Hey y'all, welcome back to the Hot Rod Dad channel. Glad you came. I hope you stay. If you like the content on the channel, I hope you consider giving it a big thumbs up, like, and subscribe. While you're at it, leave a comment in the comment section below. I try my best to reply to all of them. Occasionally one slips through the cracks, but I really try to reply to all the comments. Anything y'all do like that helps to promote the channel and the YouTube's algorithm, so it would be greatly appreciated. This week I've got a little bit of an update for you on the BLT. As you can see, I'm starting to fit the engine and transmission in the chassis. Got the body setting up there. But this week I'm going to go back and show you a little bit of how I buttoned up the perimeter frame on the car. And yeah, so let's go back and check that out. Y'all stay tuned. Now that I've got this front frame section all jigged up and tacked together, I'm going to move on to the rear frame section. I've got this turned 90 degrees right here so I can work on it a little better. That would be the back of the car right there. This is the cab area right here. This would be the back of the cab right there. So this is a set of frame rails, or a section of a set of frame rails from a Model A. Some old timer gave me them years and years ago. I told him I'd use them someday in a project. So I don't know where he got them. Probably drug them out of some fence row or something. Because I'm going to tell you, they were rougher than a peg leg ballerina. But I cut them off right there, and I'm just going to use this rear section. That's a good straight section. The rest of the frame was pretty rough. But I made this spreader bar right here to hold the frame rails together. I used the original holes in the frame. I'm not sure what was bolted there originally, but I just made a couple of plates right there and welded those to the pipe, bolted it together. I've got the back section right there clamped with a piece of angle to get everything squared up. The kick-ups are made of 2x3 tubing. On the frame rails up there, I used 1.5 inches by 3. And I used this 2x3 for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, because I'm cheap and I had a section of this laying around and didn't want to cut a big long section of 1.5 inches by 3. So I decided to use up this section of 2x3. And secondly, because the width is going to work out a little better with the springs that I'm going to use, because they are 1.75 inches wide. So I've got these brackets made up, and this will be my front spring hanger. They will go right there like that. When I made these up, little trick I used, I cut these all out. This is a factory edge right here, so it's good and straight. I stacked all those up, lined them up with that edge, and then I tack welded them all together. I ground this side down, got them all flush, got them identical. Then I went to the drill press, got my hole located right there, punched, and drilled all of them at the same time. So every one of them is identical. The other thing I did when I got this tacked on here, had a little bit of a gap right here because this section right here is a little bit wider than the Model A frame rail. I flushed this side up over here, and I just cut a section of round, 1/4 inch round stock, and I put that in, slid that in from the bottom right there, got it lined up, tacked it in. That'll give me a good backer for my weld right there, and I don't have to worry about trying to fill that big gap or the weld falling through or anything, I can not weave a nice weld bead right there, and that'll take care of it. So I actually had this upside down, this frame section upside down at the time. I just dropped that in there and got it lined up, put a little tacky tack on it, and now it's ready to weld up. So right here is the holes for the wiring. This one will line up with the driver's side frame rail, and I will just snake my wires through the frame rail and back through there, and it'll be hidden underneath the car. So that frame rail makes a nice conduit to hide wiring and stuff. So when I get a little bit further along, you'll be able to see what I have in store right here for the back, but I'll just kind of give you a little bit of an idea here of what I'm going to do. These frame rails are going to double as not only the frame, but the bed floor. So this is going to be somewhat of a flatbed. Not exactly a flatbed, but it's I'm going to put the bed floor will slide up under there. I'm just going to use one piece of plywood under there, and it'll slide up under here and bolt in from the top, and that'll make up the bed floor. And then I'm going to put some side rails here on the, probably just one board high on the sides, and that'll make up the bed and also the frame. So you'll get a little bit better idea of what it's going to look like when I get it a little further along. On this section right here, this will be the back of the cab. I'm going to take a piece of flat 1/8 inch thick and curve it around the back of the cab, just like I did on Oscar over here. Well, you can see it. You can see right there, I curved the front of the bed around the back of the cab. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one over here. Now I've got this rear frame section flipped upside down on the sawhorses here. I got the spreader bar in here holding the dimension. I've welded on a piece of 1-inch angle back here on the back. I just welded it on the ends right there. I think that's going to stay though. That lip hanging down will give me a good place to mount a license plate and maybe mount the tail lights back there on the back. So that may stay, and if it does, I'll weld that up all the way around. I've got a temporary brace right here holding this dimension from here to here, 43.5 inches, and keeps those kick-ups straight, keeps them from leaning over. And then I've got the spring brackets right here, the front spring hangers, mocked up. And what I've done here is just taking a piece of 1/2 inch all thread rod right here that's good and straight, and I put a 1 3/4 spacer right here. I cut out of a piece of 1/2 inch pipe, just slid over that to hold these square, and to simulate the spring width right there. It's just a little fudge over 1 3/4, so that gives that spring a little bit of room in there. And I've got this these mocked up here. I'm going to tack those in, and then this rear section will be ready to marry to the front section right there. If everything looks good, I'll weld these spring hangers up solid, and that will pretty much be the perimeter chassis right there. So stay tuned. So now that I've got this rear section welded to the kick-ups, I've got the spring hangers welded on there. I set that kick-up on top of my jig right here, as you can see, and welded it on up here at the top. So just at the top is welded. The rest of it I've still got to weld yet, but it's all good and square. And you can kind of see here the way this rear section is taking shape. This is an old piece of scrap metal I had laying around, and I've cut it to length and contoured it here to the back of the cab. And the piece of plywood that I put in here for the bed floor will just come up underneath this lip right here, and this plywood will bolt in from the top of these frame rails. This piece of metal, funny story about that. That came from an old church that was being remodeled I was working on, and that was a big set of double doors that was being taken out, and this was the security strip that went down between the two doors. Actually, there's a sticker right there from the company that did the install on the doors originally. So I'm all the time looking out for scrap metal and stuff that I can use. I think I'll leave that sticker there just for the novelty of it. But I drug those doors home, and of course they were hollow core steel doors, and I cut them apart, so that made like 4 big sheets of sheet metal I could use for various projects and stuff. Actually, it yielded the this panel right here, filler panel between the bumper and the grill on Oscar. So that's part of one of those big double doors. So now that I've got this rear section welded on and that's starting to take shape, I'm going to move up here to the front, and I'm going to get this cross member welded in permanently. Again, I've made a jig up here too. I thought at some point in time I may want to build this type of frame again, so I went to the trouble of building a jig here for the front, one for the center right there, right about where the firewall is, and one at the back of the frame. And when I get ready to, I've got all the dimensions. When I get ready to build another one, I can just set it down in this jig here, clamp it down on the front. It's got a stop right here at the front, and it's got tabs on either side to hold the frame square. Same with the center one there. I actually tack welded the frame to that one, and I'll just cut it loose whenever I get ready to take the frame out of the jig. And I did the same thing on the back. And this jig right here has actually got a place right here where I can set the rear frame section down on it. It's just a stop, so I could just set it down on there, get it square, and then weld it up. So now that I've got everything jigged up and square, I'm ready to get that front cross member in, and I'm going to start building cab mounts right here. And then after I get the cab mounted, get the tub mounted, I'm going to move on to the suspension mounts and the motor and transmission mounts. Hey y'all, just wanted to take a minute to wish y'all a very Merry Christmas. Going to take the next couple of weekends off to spend a little time with the family, and then I'll be back at you with some new videos. Got my Christmas shirt on. Is that cool? Got a C10 on it, Christmas tree, pretty cool camper, a little snow. So yeah, I'm in the holiday spirit. Hope y'all are too. Till next time, y'all get out there and build something. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Peace on earth and all that jazz. See you next time.